Should we make out again on camera? The quality is so weird though. We gotta figure that out. There's some very beautiful women. Where are they at? Where are they at?
Hello, hello, hola, hola.
¿Cómo estás? Buenos noches. How American do I sound right now? Let's see. Louise! Oh man, of all people to butcher my Spanish. Sorry. Oh, drinking his Shakeology. Look at you. Represent.
My recover, to be more specific.
Oh.
He walk right now. He started 6 weeks of the work.
Oh,
That struggle is real. Angela also does Beachbody, by the way, so I don't know if she's done the work, but she's doing bar blend right now, so at least she understands the sore, like the sore that comes after the workout. There she is.
Wow, that is brutal.
Amoila is no joke.
it all looks easy, but it's not.
Which one?
He's doing, Luis just started 6 weeks of the work this week.
Did you do the prep first?
Yep, I did 4 weeks of the prep, then MBF, MBFA, and now 6 weeks of the work.
That's like next level, man. Wow.
That's about as prepped I feel like that you can ever be for the work, but it's also, it shows though, no matter how well you prep, it's still hard, right? He still knows how to kick booty.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
I'll be honest, I'm pretty excited for his new program coming out in the summer. Like when I saw that he was coming out with a new one, I liked the concept. I'm pumped. I'm excited for that one.
I'll do that one after this one.
Yeah.
Let's do it together, Luis. Come
Yeah.
on. All right.
Challenge accepted.
Uh-oh. I know. I better watch. Shoot, this is being recorded too, so I can't back out. Evelyn, you game for that, baby girl? You ready to get going? Does she ever work out with you? Or I'm sure she's probably nearby, yeah, when you're working out, Angela?
She's muted, so she can't.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
You can just
Nearby.
Yeah. Have you ever used her as a weight just yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one perk, guys, when you have, babies together, it's like as you get stronger, they get heavier. So it's like you get to progress in weight. And I remember there was a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, Mason, you're already too heavy because he's like 35 pounds. So he's a big boy. Exactly.
She doesn't look 35 pounds though.
She's
Not at all.
She looks
That's
like a little
thing.
peanut. Yeah. Oh, with a big heart though. Baby, can we move this? I am so concerned.
Of course.
I'm definitely New Yorker in the sense that talk about a cultural I don't know, norm is that New Yorkers are known for being like loud and talking with their hands, and I can just see that flying across our keyboard. So
Thought they were abrasive and obnoxious. New York.
well, that too. I was looking at more of the positive ends of that equality. Exactly. So how has your weeks been? Angela, we'll give you a break. Don't worry about leaning forward and answering. Maybe we'll put the spotlight on Caitlin and Luis for a moment. We know you guys went through a check today, which is funny. We're talking about culture. Angela may not be aware, but we know you guys were checked to make sure you guys were officially married today, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the process of changing my residency permit in Austria. And this time it's being changed as a family member because I'm married to him now. And they called yesterday saying, hey, we need to do like a home visit. Oh, Yev and Meryl are here.
Ah, good timing.
So he came and we were nervous even though we had nothing to hide. But he was very professional and quick. And it was just a weird experience, kind of like, okay, you just want to see if we're a real couple. But it's very obvious in our apartment. There's like pictures of us, pictures of his son, like kid stuff everywhere. He like looked around and then he's just like, okay, I just need to like look at your rental agreement.
Awesome. He didn't like come in and like, but I think if I was one of those officers, it'd be so bad because I would like want to make people sweat. I'd come in and like snap the rubber glove, like, all right, so this is gonna be about 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. But
Like show,
yeah.
he's like, "Do you want to see my badge?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really good."
That's probably before I let you come in and snoop through. Like we heard that sometimes they actually will, I guess they can like go through your underwear drawers.
The,
Like
the
he
guy
did go
that
through my
came here,
underwear, didn't
yeah,
he?
Wow.
Creep. I'm just kidding.
yeah, for real.
But I guess he kind of was like, well, bras and underwear. I don't think this man is quite a cross dresser. But yeah, so we kind of went through that too. So I'm just really glad though to hear that it maybe wasn't as crazy as you guys thought, and you're one step closer, it sounds like.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's gotta feel good. Gotta feel good. Yev and Meryl, we see that you guys have officially joined us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our family's all together. We miss you, Justin. We love you. Can't wait to connect with
Yes,
you.
sir. Absolutely.
But Yev and Meryl, can you hear us? We can't see you. Although,
Yes, we
yes. Okay.
are currently driving, but yes, we can hear everything and see you guys, if that's okay.
Perfect. Absolutely. You're still in Georgia, or where are you at?
Yes, we are still in Georgia.
Loving it?
Yeah, we are probably farther than any beach than we thought we would be.
Okay.
So it's just been it's been a very relaxing vacation.
Hey guys.
Glad to hear so.
Hey.
Hi, sir.
And they're still together. I always feel like if you really want to test your like relationship, go on a road trip.
You always said that.
Shit, this isn't even our longest one. We like road tripped the heck out of this relationship.
Yeah, we drove from Washington State back to Chicago.
It's about 2,000 miles, about 3,000 Ks. So
That's a nice
That's a
drive.
good haul.
A long way.
yeah,
That's a beautiful ride, I can imagine.
It absolutely was.
Thank you very
That's a
much.
lot of like opportunity for, like weird conversations, strange karaoke sessions, and like lots of pee breaks in the middle of nowhere. Like that's what's awesome about
A
road
lot
trips.
of nowhere, I can
A
imagine
lot
too,
of,
right?
yeah.
Up there?
Yes.
Yes. That's good.
a lot of nowhere, a lot of nowhere.
Yeah. Nowhere USA. I think that was because Kim and I drove from New York to California, and he was
Oh.
just like, you can't even fathom. Yeah, that was like 5,000 miles. I don't know. It was like 4 straight days of like 12 hours, I don't know, in a car. And everyone said, like, if we thought this relationship was moving kind of fast, but if y'all can make it through that, we believe y'all can make it through anything, especially with this mouth. So it's true though. But it was amazing because I think you were so amazed at how much land the USA has.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hours on
Where
end.
there's nothing in the middle, you like drive for hours. You get to like Oklahoma or like Nebraska. You just go like 6 hours and you see 4 people. You're like, huh.
Angela
It's
gets
beautiful.
that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah. It makes me proud to see that there's still some places in this world that are not taken over by like businesses and corporations, and that there's just
Concrete.
land. Yeah, concrete, right? It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Can I ask you guys about the homework that we assigned you in the past few days? Did we have a chance to look into
You
that?
can ask. Yeah, we have done 0 homework on vacation. We've done a good job of vacationing, a bad job of homework.
Awesome. That's good to hear, though. I think there's quite some hours of video and assignments that are waiting for you guys in the next few
Oh, yeah.
weeks or months or whatever. Just take your time.
Yeah.
We got 14 hours to drive home tomorrow, so I think we might get a crack through the videos.
Oh yeah.
I think we're actually
Crash.
we're missing one. We're behind on the one, so I think we're doing pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. You're doing pretty good.
It's very good, actually, I'd say. So, and what a true crash course. Although I hope that crash maybe is not a great analogy to use while you're driving, but expedite through the course. And I know our one homework assignment beginning this week is something you guys could totally do and probably have some fun with in the car is downloading an app called Duolingo. And because like Meryl, you can start to learn a little bit of Russian.
Is it on there? Did we check it
Oh,
out?
shoot. I don't know.
It is. It is because I've actually used it to try to learn Russian myself.
Okay.
I was
That's
was
that's
it
important
like
and
yeah,
helpful.
brush up on the grammar if
Oh
you
yeah,
will.
I've got it.
Yeah, you got it.
I've got the app.
Awesome.
How
No,
does that make you feel, Meryl?
Hmm. Sorry, having the app?
Looking forward to learning some Russian.
Yeah, no, I think like it's really exciting.
Okay, good to hear. How awesome would that be if you could speak Russian or at least some Russian?
Yeah, I mean that's the running goal, and I feel like you guys have already gone through it. If not Russian, yeah, like his parents also speak Ukrainian. I think his kids speak Russian. That was more, if I'm wrong, from the urge of their mom, because her parents spoke Russian, but Yev's parents speak both. And in fact, Yev has a nephew, there has a son, and they're teaching him the Ukrainian. So yeah, I mean, learning a little bit of either of these languages, I think, it sounds like that's important for, again, Yev and I have talked, like, for our child to be able to speak at least some conversational Russian or Ukrainian. So yeah, I think it'd be absolutely beneficial if I learned some as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and you can have fun
So,
with
yeah.
it. You can have fun with it. I think what's been amazing for me learning the Dutch language is I've realized how much Dutch I knew that I didn't know, like that's in culture that it's
Okay.
just like, oh, okay, like, wow, that means that, or that's that, or I feel like it expands. Like, I can think of actually a lot of films that have like Russian and Ukrainian characters in it that you hear, or it'll say like on the screen speaking Russian. And, I think it would be cool. Are you thinking, yeah, there are a lot of mobsters and
No, I wasn't going there.
Oh, sorry, I went there. But I mean, I think it'd be cool or like it's amazing when you start to learn a language. I feel like you also start to learn a culture. And so it's kind of cool over time as you learn language, it's just neat to see how your whole world expands,
Yeah, I totally agree. I joke with like a different joke, but like when I see or hear, like, because I mean, for me, I've learned a little bit of Spanish with with medicine and being in like a county hospital in Chicago. Like, oh my God, over half my patients speak Spanish. But I was talking to Yev, like Russian's a great language for like a world war, because at least like the like at least like in Spanish the letters are the same, and like Croatian the letters are the same, Italian it's all Latin based. Like Russian, like you look at it and you may recognize, oh, that's a B in English, but it's actually like a J sound. So it's like it really it's kind of a weapon. But yes, I'm very interested to learn some of it. Yeah.
That's like next level new language learning.
Sorry, it's a little extreme in a world war, but no, I mean, like it's very like you look at it and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, because it's true. Out of all the languages in our group that we have, like you are the only one that has a totally different alphabet and completely different letters and look and but it is fun to have kind of like a secret language with your partner too, because you guys could be out somewhere and you guys could just have like a mini conversation that nobody else around you would know what the heck you're saying or doing. Like I know that when we're in the US, I really try to up my Dutch game because I'm like, this is cool, this is fun.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but shaking his head no. So it's the Russians are everywhere.
I wanted to clarify. So maybe it's funny. So like the reason I have Duolingo and maybe Kim was looking at me all confused is because I would say I have a functional so I'm literate in the sense that I can converse and then I sight read, but I'm not fluent native proficiency when it comes to writing. So like I can read because like sight read, right? So in English, you don't read every letter. You like see the word, you recognize the word, you read the word. But like when it comes to the letter, sometimes Meryl will be like, "What's that letter?" And I'm like, "Actually, I'm gonna need a hot minute here to find a word that has that letter, so that I could sound it out for you because I don't remember."
Wow. Okay. So there's also some growth margin where you're at.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Makes things interesting.
Right?
And I think my confuzzled face was, I can imagine in America 2 people speaking Russian. I don't know what looks you would get.
Or the FBI like get sent on.
There's a lot of them though. That's like the crazy part is like more often than not, it's like there's very few days that'll go by where like we'll be in public and somebody like we'll hear people speaking a language and like Meryl will look at me and be like, that sounds like something you'd recognize, and it's like it'll be somebody speaking Polish or Russian or something, like especially in Chicago. So it's like it's a secret language, but then sometimes you've got to be careful because
Not so
I
secret.
don't think yeah, I don't look like maybe a native Russian speaker. So like when you hear him talking shit, you're like, I know what you guys are saying. I hear you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Definitely.
All right. Awesome. Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, good to have you guys on the call today.
Yes.
That was a long intro. We apologize.
No need to. I can also imagine, Caitlin, that you'll be downloading 2 Duolingo apps, one in German and one in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded it only because my phone has almost no storage space.
Yeah, that's the downside, right?
I understand
So many apps these days.
Deleting apps and things on my phone because I have like thousands of photos that I need to like download elsewhere. But I had used it in the past for German when I was just beginning. And I know that you can like work through it until you like get to your level. But yeah, I don't know, how does it work for like if you're not a beginner?
Yeah, you have to start from the start though.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you'd have to kind of work your way through, or maybe, I don't know. They do have like a pro level now too that you can, of course, you have to pay for. But I know that I wonder if there's like a test you can take to test out of the beginning
I don't think
levels.
so.
I'm not sure.
But in German is, there's the joke that like in English,
Sorry.
in English you have the word the, and then I don't know how it is in Dutch, but in German you have like 19 different forms of the word the. Depends on the article. I literally just kind of pick a random one and try it because I gave up because and then it goes to like dem, den, der, des, das, like every form, and then it's like
OMG.
like der, it like becomes like ish. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I give up. And sometimes like throw something in the sentence because I'm like, whatever, they'll understand me. And Luis is like, oh my gosh, no, like that's not the right form. And this is correct me. And I'm just like, well, the person at the restaurant will understand.
Probably.
I go through that too.
And the 2 of you, do you ever speak German? Deutsch?
To each other?
Yeah.
No, almost never. Like sometimes we're speaking in a group if we're around friends that are mainly German speaking, and then we're like sharing conversations in German. But just the 2 of us, like it was about a year and a half ago, I was taking a super intensive German class. It was 6 times a week. And
Wow.
like I was crying every night, like I can't do this. And so he would help me a lot with my homework. And we would have conversations, but now that I use it so much more at work, and now that I use it also some conversations with friends, like I've gotten a little bit more practical practice. And I think it was interesting because I was like, okay, he's such a useful tool, but on the other hand,
You're a useful tool, Luis. At least you're useful.
I use like my walking Google Translate for all 3 languages, basically. But I don't want to abuse.
That's hot, right? You got a trilingual man there.
I even told him, I'm like, you don't even have any homework. You don't even have to learn anything on Duolingo.
Correct.
You had an easier week, Luis.
Maybe you can.
Sorry. I meant like language wise.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Maybe you can join Yev and Meryl and learn some Russian if you want to, if you're interested.
Why not?
I actually have a good friend that lives in
Or you could
Merrill. So if you have a connection that speaks English and Russian, I have a close friend that is Russian.
And Meryl, I think, was going to say something.
Go ahead.
yeah, you could teach us some Spanish. And correct me if I'm wrong. All the different conjugations of the, and just using one reminds me of when I took Spanish, like the por and para, and we were all just saying pora because we didn't know which one to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also complicated.
Right.
I'm sure Angela could relate to that too.
I love all these multicultural things.
The reason why we don't speak in German to each other is because German is a foreign language to both of us.
Yeah, it's neither of our mother tongues, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we could communicate in Spanish, that's at least my mother tongue, or in English, that's her mother tongue, but German just doesn't come naturally because it's a foreign language to both of us.
But you are pretty good at it, I can imagine, Louis.
Yeah. I mean, I understand and read, and I can do everything in German, but it still doesn't come as naturally.
Okay.
But would you say that it's Matthias's mother tongue?
I guess.
That's a good question. I would say both German and Spanish are his languages.
Mm-hmm.
During school,
Yeah.
I can see that German is being
It's more dominant.
it's more stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking and processing and everything.
Amazing.
We're trying to keep him focused on Spanish because we're afraid he's going to lose it.
I'll lose it, yeah.
On the phone with his grandparents, he speaks German, and Luis says, Matthias, they don't understand you. You have to speak Spanish, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That really escalated when he started first grade this year. So
Yeah, because now he's absorbing, all of his lessons and everything to do with proper grammar and writing and everything. It's just like you said, his brain is just being flooded with German. So I know you guys have quite a task ahead of you, but I also
that's 3 languages.
Yeah.
Raising a trilingual boy there.
Well, that's why, Caitlin, I know you and I have talked about how you kind of want to put English a little bit to the side for now, just not to overwhelm him and confuse him so much, but also not, I know, forgetting it completely, because I know that that's your mother tongue. And when you guys have children, they'll speak English and all these things. I know we can go deeper in, but it's awesome. It's awesome to hear more of your family dynamic.
Louis, just keep talking Spanish, Caitlin, just keep talking English to Matthias.
yeah.
It'll all work out.
get it.
It'll all work out.
And I'm curious, before we dive into our lesson,
I was gonna say, Justin, did you download the Duolingo, the Spanish one?
Justin's not on the.
I know, but he'll be watching
okay.
the read.
Well, you have a moment to process and pause then, but I do want to speak. I wanted to speak to your lovely wife.
Well, she's in the middle of stuff, I can imagine.
Okay, so Angela, no pressure if you can't answer us unless you just came off of mute.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of here. I'm trying to put Evelyn down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
No worries.
Take your time. So, Justin, we got a challenge for you, man. Learn some Spanish. It's actually very good for people our age to learn a new language. It's like a good brain workout. It's like the prep for your brains to learn new language. It'll
So
keep
the
you.
interesting
Oh,
thing is that Justin actually served a Spanish-speaking mission for our church.
for church.
A Spanish. Sorry, you cut out a little bit. A Spanish. What for your church?
A Spanish-speaking mission. So he went to Venezuela when he was 19 and served in Venezuela for 2 years. So
What?
Spanish.
Awesome. We're gonna have to talk more about that later.
He doesn't speak it as fluently as I do. He doesn't really remember a whole lot.
No.
But when I say basic things, he does know it, he does understand it. So in a sense, he does speak it. It's been a long time. But
Hi, baby girl.
It'll come back when you start using it more.
yeah.
And are your girls pretty good at Spanish?
They understand it. They're gonna love it better about wanting to start using it again. They're asking me. Like I wrote out our chore chart this week, and I actually put their chores in Spanish.
Wow,
Awesome.
that's
And
good.
they're like, "Serious, mom? Whatever." I'm like,
Well,
Hey,
you know,
you
that's
guys
just an
asked.
attitude.
Yeah. Maybe because it was just chores in general. Yeah.
It's good.
Aw. That's
yeah.
awesome. I think that's a great environment for helping the culture, of your twins to be more present in the house, and how awesome that I don't know what you guys, if you guys have talked about any formal kind of ideas or plans for Evelyn, but I think it would be such a blessing for her too to grow up semi-bilingual, or just having that connection with her sisters. And then of course, I know I can speak for myself as an American. I wish I would have started a second language when I was born or when I was young. It would have been so much easier. I think that as an adult, and I think Spanish immersion schools and tools in the US are becoming more and more popular. So I love that direction you guys are going.
Yeah. I also speak a little bit of American Sign Language. So I've been using a little bit of sign language with Evelyn. And
Yeah.
it's sweet how sometimes the Spanish just naturally comes out and I say things to her.
That's
Oh,
good.
cute.
I do plan on, the ultimate goal is for the twins and myself to be trilingual in sign language and Spanish and English. So that'll be the goal for Evelyn as well.
That's a beautiful challenge you got there. Yeah. And I know in 2021 most people have Netflix, and I know I'm not sure about Russian, but the Spanish, I'm sure you can
There's a lot.
put out either the audio in Spanish or subtitles in Spanish, and that'll absolutely up your game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they help you a lot in Dutch too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's helped our family a lot. Even if it's like for instance with Mason, if I ever have on cartoons, I always put it on in Dutch, because figuring all day he's hearing me talk in English, that when Daddy or Sissy's not around, I want him to be able to hear the Dutch, and then I can also practice my Dutch. And it's kind of fun because then when we're around Kim's family, especially his young nieces, they watch a lot of the same stuff, so we can sing the same songs and like say the same phrases, so it's another great way just to incorporate the culture into your home. So.
Yeah, and do not underestimate the power of songs, especially children's songs. I don't know any Russian songs, I'm afraid. I'm sorry there, but I'm sure they exist.
Give them a chance to teach us.
A little babushka somewhere, and yeah, you get to get more familiar with the flow and just the feel of the language. Or German ones. Oh, Yev, are you gonna bust out some Ukrainian baby songs?
No Ukrainian lullabies, but I as a takeaway, I'll learn some before the next time we're chatting.
No pressure. We're gonna hold you to that, because I really would love to hear that. I know that my grandfather, his parents came over from Ukraine to the States, and my grandparents always used to call our butt a dupa. I don't know if you know that phrase, but if you've ever called a butt dupa or heard anyone call it a dupa, but for some reason it came from across the water. I don't know if that's something my grandparents learned or made up, but
awesome.
I like it. It sounds a little made up, but I like it. Close to like Croatian, Polish. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
That would make sense. Awesome.
And even though tonight is our last official course dingeske, but I am looking forward to meeting you guys on a Saturday nights, because those get-togethers will still be going on as plans, or Saturday afternoons. We are looking forward to visiting the States this summer, so maybe a couple of weeks we can make it a Saturday night live.
And a Saturday at 3 a.m. for you Austrians. Hey.
Imagine that. How cool would that be?
But yeah, we're definitely gonna play around probably with the times once in a while on Saturdays. But this is definitely by no means the end. It's truly the beginning.
Yeah.
Sounding so epic, but truly, we have been so blessed to have you guys these 4 weeks, and I think we all have kind of said, "Oh my gosh, it's gone by so quickly." You're right. It's just like, how did this already go through and happen? But that's why we're happy that we get to keep going on and growing together through all of the social media, through our Saturday Night Lives, and Lord willing, we all get to actually meet together in person.
Someday we definitely hope so.
I know the Mineros are first on our list, so.
In preparing tonight's class, if for lack of a better word, I once again thought like, okay, this too is like jam-packed full with information and scientific findings, conclusions, yeah. But it also reminded me that first of all, please feel free to go through them again and again, because I'm sure that when you apply and learn and do new stuff, something new will stand out, something new will speak to you, something that you didn't notice the first time. And number two, how do I say this? The proof is in the pudding. I don't know if that's relevant, but I just wanted to say that today. It's actually in doing, in applying what we recommend you do is when you learn best. Words don't teach. I think your own experience is the greatest teacher. So yeah, keep trying, keep applying, keep going through it, keep reminding each other. And yeah.
Without further ado.
Ooh, feeling all fired up, baby.
All right. You know what happens when Kim gets fired up.
Before I press share this screen, is there something else that you guys wanted to discuss, ask, share, or whatever? You have the podium.
All right. I think they're giving us the clearance to go.
We good.
Going down this road.
Sharing the screen.
There we go.
Boom.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
share.
Yes. Here we go, guys.
Here we go. Exactement.
All right. Everyone can see our screen so far. I know right now it's a beautiful blue wallpaper kind of background. So boom, doubly blended. Maybe 4 weeks ago you didn't know what the heck that meant, but we hope now a month later you guys know and are maybe feeling even at least a little bit more that means you guys are also doubly blessed. That's the way we like to look at things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also like the idea of this roadmap that we're playing with that we're further elaborating on more and more. And yeah, it's taking shape, I feel. But anyways, the doubly blended, doubly blessed, the multicultural step family. Who would have known that some point at this point in your life it would have become your new normal? How crazy is that?
Yes. I remember at one point what kind of stimulated this in being our new normal and what even brought us to this point in our lives to say, yeah, we're going to step out and be multicultural step family coaches was this very quote that we're about to show on the screen. Was I literally came to a point where I was like, how do I do this? Meaning like momming, stepmomming. How do I function in this family when I can't understand a word that my bonus daughter is saying? And it felt so overwhelming that I was like, there must be other people out there like me. There must be other people having to do this. And I think that's why we wanted to put this in this section. Our kind of our tip of the iceberg, so to say, is because sometimes culture in our families is the most obvious. And sometimes it can be the thing that affects us most. And I know for our family, it certainly has been a constant everyday in your face, kind of understanding acknowledgement because of the fact we're from different cultures and speak different languages. And something that we learned in our research and prepping this entire course is this very fact that Successfully intermarried step families, they require knowledge in just basically at least two areas. So the first area is that step family relations in general, just kind of like knowing how do step families relate to each other, how do they move forward, how do they communicate, how do they blend together. And then the next one was basically specific knowledge about interracial or intercultural marriages in the society. So what's really awesome is that this is what research has founded, and this is actually something you guys are now better equipped at the end of this course as opposed to the beginning of this course. These are two things we've tried to really hone in on, is how do step families relate together, and then also having the knowledge. What we're going to bring you guys through tonight is how does that foundation, that marriage or that partnership, how does it, even just bringing an awareness to it, how does it affect the rest of your family as a whole?
Yes, ma'am. Well
Yes.
said.
Thank you.
Speaking of culture, because we can speak of mixed cultures, but just to warm up, what do we think of? When I look at Webster's, I see like there's a boatload of explanations, but the things that keep coming back again and again is like, okay, this culture thing. It's when we say like, that's how we do things around here. That's how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
Things that a certain group people, it's always time and place
Right.
bound. It's like the ideas, the values, the beliefs
Yeah.
that we share. We might call these your normals. The things that are normal to you, those are most of the time related to the culture. And they come together in a step family in a couple of different ways. They
Yeah.
come together. Not just the two of you, but also your kids and the other kids and the kids in between. So there's a lot of normals. Maybe conflicting there, because when we're thinking about the normals, what could be culturally different normals?
There's quite a bit.
Yes, ma'am. This is also what research showed. These are the ones that are most important, that come to the surface most often. Children, sex roles, sexual behavior, expression of feelings, money management, verbal and nonverbal communication, food preferences. Can you imagine that? And also attitudes towards seeking help. And that's why I want to say a big kudos, big high five to all of you to opening yourself up to seeking help, or at least being open for help, because that's not always a given in all cultures. We've had many people who say like, hey, no, we don't share the things that we do around here in our own home. Unfortunately, maybe over time, we hope not for them, but
Yeah.
good job for you guys.
What I loved about this, if you guys see this photo on the left, what's really great is, again, the iceberg analogy, I think, is one that we all can relate to and can really take home with us. Is if you look at it, the tip of the iceberg, so those are the things that are kind of more obvious and the things that you see. When we talk about different cultures, even I'm sorry to use this example, Yev, but we joke saying, oh, vodka, like Russians are known, right, for using that for everything. That's something that's kind of more surface level. We know a lot about food and music and maybe different cultures' dances. We know like Latinos, they're known for good dancing, right, or Spanish or literature. But it's the underlying things, it's this deeper culture, like actually more on the list of these normals we just listed, that are very often, that those are the things that make the bigger effect in the family. We think it's the things above. We think those are the things that are going to clash, but it's actually, more importantly, the things that are underneath the surface that really make all the difference in how well your family blends together and how big of an importance that your differences are to one another.
Yes, ma'am. So actually, what is impacted by the culture is, okay, all the notions, all concepts about marriage, about how you resolve conflicts, about the parenting styles. So that's why we wanted you guys to come together on that, and maybe even religious beliefs. Therefore, in general, we can conclude that a multicultural step family, just so you know, is more conflict prone than a normal, if there is such a word,
family that would
or
be
step family.
yeah.
Yeah, normal nuclear
Traditional.
Same
So
culture.
same culture, no stepchildren, no other families involved. Those are the ones that they just have less conflict because there's less differences. And now you guys see we put a cultural norm or a expectation here in a photo. This guy's saying basically, oh man, you're pregnant, so now I have to marry you. Again, that's not the expectation, certainly not the expectation here in Belgium, but certain very, say, conservative cultures, that is without hesitation, that's the expectation. Like, it is expected, it's not even spoken. I know my father in the 70s, when in America, when he got his girlfriend pregnant, they got married. There was no option to not get married in his mindset and in the culture, again, that's time sensitive that he was growing up with. And the point we wanted to make with this is, it's like we're trying to paint the picture of the reality you may be facing, not to scare you guys, but to show like, hey, these are the odds that are against you. So the more you're aware of them, the better you can handle them or tackle them. So yes, you're more conflict prone. And in this research we were reading, and we see this in the families that we're trying to help, that no matter how much love is present, I think some people think, well, because we love each other, it'll all work out. Well, love can definitely get you through many things, but there's a lot that love you just can't wash over or have it cover. So that's why we want to help you guys that are willingly taking this step towards stepping forward in your multicultural step family and saying, we want to tackle this. We want to lay a strong foundation and say that you guys are doing the right step, and research even backs that up.
And if I may, I think no matter who you marry, conflicts will arise.
Yeah.
So don't let that hold you back.
Yeah.
If there's a conflict, I think we will become masters in conflict resolution.
Yeah.
That's what most important is, how you get out of it, how you keep coming together, keep becoming stronger together as a team.
Yeah.
And that's a very beautiful opportunity.
Yes.
If I may say so myself. So yeah, something that we came across in research is that when two cultures come together, actually there's like a third culture being born. It's like not the one or the other. It's like a little bit of both blending, becoming a new culture.
Yeah. I think, it's known as an interculture. And Kim may not know this, but there is a very popular club or organization called Third Culture Kids, I know, in the US or across the world, where that's basically what it's for. It's for children who grow up in that third culture, when they have two parents from two different cultures, or very often, maybe like Luis and Caitlin's situation, raising children in a culture that's not even their own. It's like, whoa, because that child's experience is a lot different than their parents.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to be aware of, that you are creating your own culture here.
Yeah.
So in becoming a multicultural to an interculture, it's very important, at least for you to know that in every generation, a little bit gets lost. And I'm sure and how they culturally were living, there's a big difference. I'm sure we cannot compare those two. So something to be aware of. There will be some things that get lost, and especially the further physical mile distance that you are away from your roots, the more that will get lost.
Right.
Also, something important to remember is that every culture is a valid one. There is no wrong or right one, no better or worse one, and not even your ex's culture. And that might be a little bit of a, maybe it's the hardest one, but for the kids, for the people, no culture is better than one other. So when cultures come together, they will clash. Sooner or later, there will be little things that come to surface, something that you just know that you will find yourself saying like, hey man, you just don't do that. And at that point, we would like to say like, you are given a golden opportunity, because it opens the door, or it could at least open the door for the two of you to communicate and to start a conversation, so that in the end the two of you can decide together, like, okay, maybe I was raised this way, maybe I was told this is how you do it, but does it actually resonates with me? I might say been saying that for 30 years, but do I really feel good about that?
Right.
I can imagine that there's countries where women are supposed to walk 20 feet behind the men on the street. Well, if I were to move to America, say, and would I still want my wife to be walking 20 feet behind me? No, I would want them to be around me so that I can see them, I can take care of them, I can protect them better. Just maybe a silly example, just to make you thinking, like, okay, what are the things that you have to do according to your culture that maybe you don't feel
doesn't resonate.
Yeah, you don't feel all that well. That doesn't resonate with you. Because in becoming an interculture, in deciding together, there is at the same time also this trap. There's also a pitfall. Especially when you find yourself having a rather dominant personality. And there could also be some cultural power game battle things going on. And also majorities and minorities are some of the hidden traps, maybe booby traps, not, but.
I just want to clarify on majority and minority. I know that sometimes we can think of that as, oh, what is the minority in maybe the culture or the country you live in? But I think in this aspect, we're talking more about in your family. So say, for instance, if it's, Justin and Angela in your family, predominantly most of you are white Americans, but then your two girls have that Mexican root. So it's only natural that sometimes there is a trap of having, since there's only two of you in your family that have those Mexican roots, that culture would be overshadowed or pushed away. And so that's why it is important to make a conscious decision to make sure that we don't fall into those traps and push one culture aside or see one as more important than the other.
Awesome. One thing that came up is that sometimes we think like, oh, it's all culture's fault. It's my culture. That's how we do things.
Yeah.
But not always are we aware that maybe it could be some past hurt that taught us to not do things a certain way in the future no more. Just to say that it's easy to blame everything on a different culture, while in the end, we are responsible and we have to take our responsibility in the same thing. Because although it can be initially unseen, but resentment could grow and over time could lead to large consequences. Another thing to take into consideration is the culture where you live at. Maybe Caitlin and Louis, maybe this is a beautiful example for you, but after the Second World War, when a lot of Japanese families moved to America, and the Japanese families, they wanted to raise their kids like by Japanese tradition and Japanese values and standards, and the kids, they had a hard time with that because they were growing up in America. All their friends at school were American, and they felt themselves to be more American. So sometime over the next few years, Matthias could say like, hey, I am Austrian.
Yeah.
Something to be aware of. We can offer the values as we raise our kids, but in the end, where you live at, the society where you find yourself will have a big impact in the personality that you are rearing.
Yes.
Right?
Raising. Yeah, very
Exactly.
good. Kim learned a new word this week, rearing a child. He's like, that's an old term, isn't it? I said, yeah, but we can bring it back. So this brings us to, okay, so why are you guys even here? We've shown a lot of the odds that are stacked up, quite honestly, guys, not in your favor. And it actually also shows that through research, it's we are definitely more of the minority, even though intercultural relationships are on the rise as our step families. We're still more of the minority than the majority because of everything that we shared with you guys. There's a lot of odds. There's a lot of conflict that happen. And there's a lot of, we talked about this in our first lesson, uncomfortability. But just as we encourage you guys to find a date where you guys, both are a little uncomfortable, right? Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. You guys just being together have shown that you guys already are set up for that. You guys already have some sort of comfortability with the uncomfortable because you each could have chosen to marry or to be in a relationship with someone in your own culture. So there's a reason why you have that attraction to one another. And we want to, okay, sorry, I almost lost my train of thought, but we want to encourage you guys to be yourself. It can be really hard in families like this to see yourself in this situation because you can kind of ask yourself, like, who is this person that I'm becoming? Not so much of like, it's especially because in our situation, I am the one, not just in an intercultural family and relationship, but I am in a different culture altogether. I am in a culture that feels very different from my own. And so I, in essence, am being changed and becoming someone new that I've never been before. So, Meryl, I know you even kind of spoke about this, even though you're in America, you are in a step family for the first time. So it can feel really, really weird. And I think that it can be very natural to do, these 2 or 3 things listed here that we kind of alienate ourselves, push ourselves away. We feel lost, so we don't know who to turn to. And very often this leads to withdrawing and self-preserving. However, would you like to take this one, baby?
That's why our first class in this series was that marriage. If you have a good foundation, something to always fall back on, and in the kids' perception, it's a huge success factor. Just the fact that you're married, it means that you're game, that you're in it for the long haul.
So no pressure. Yev and Meryl, of course, we know you guys are the only couple on our call that aren't married, but just research has shown that in the kids' minds, and I'm sure all of us could say, even in our own, that relationship takes that next level. Of course, as the couple, you're literally proclaiming that next level, that you are committing to this person and this family for life. So the kids also see that, and it actually is a huge success factor for the kids to welcome you more openly once you make that commitment to marriage.
Yes, ma'am. So it's absolutely time to
turn the page.
Yes, ma'am. In growing into a thriving intercultural, multicultural step family, it is very, very important that you embrace change. As you are growing older, as you are put in situations that you've never been before, all the concepts that you once had about yourself, one morning you'll wake up and you'll say, who is this person? So if you want to thrive in your family, it is important that you just change successfully. To blend well means that you change well. It is mandatory. And especially because we're not only blending cultures here, because that could be challenging to many people, but we're also blending families. So that's a double whammy right there, which adds another layer, some extra flavor, which makes things interesting. Yes. Absolutely.
All right. I'm curious where my photo is. No, did it skip?
Something.
There he is. I gave you guys a little preview. Okay. If you guys got why I said that, here is Mr. Matthew McConaughey and his gorgeous wife. They are an intercultural marriage. That's why I put them here. With this strong statement that came straight from research is hopefully a little pump up, a little encouragement for you guys, is that studies have shown that intermarriages, so intercultural marriages, are thought to be progressive endeavors by courageous, idealistic, and strong human beings.
Boom.
So can we take a breath and a moment to just like
Ask to believe.
By the way, that means please. maybe the German speaking family understood. But basically, I mean, guys, like look at those. If I can just point out 3, maybe the 4 words: progressive, so meaning you're not closed-minded, you're thinking, you're moving forward towards the future. You're courageous, so you're brave and taking on new challenges. Idealistic, you have new ideas, you're growing, you're dreamers, and you are strong, you know? So truly, like, embrace that in the middle of all this insanity and craziness and chaos that can be the double blend. Know that the double blessing is also for you, as well as your partner, and as well as the children you already have and the children that are to come. And so, speaking of the added blend that we all have, because we're not just multicultural families, we're also, yes, step families. So we have that step factor. And as we shared, that definitely adds a complexity, but a beautiful complexity. And the complexity here can come in many shapes or forms. And we've talked a lot about this in last week's lesson, but we want to make sure that we repeat as much of this as possible and review it, because it is just so important. And as Kim said, as we're being sponges and absorbing all this, you're going to absorb it in different times. So anyway, so some of the possible configurations of what could be a complexity in a step family is you've got kids and you have step kids. So of course you have the mix of children that are not biologically yours, and then children that are biologically yours, and having them and mixed together. And then you also have spouses. So you have your love of your life, your spouse now, but there's also the ex-spouses. And sometimes, of course, you have that complexity that they're in the picture, out of the picture. I know Angela and Justin face that reality. And also sometimes it's a third culture. It sounds like Yev and Meryl have a little bit of that, with a little more of a Russian culture coming in with his ex. There's also languages. That's a complexity too here in step families. It may be languages that you guys do speak or don't speak. By the way, really great to see you guys on camera, looking fresh, guys. I love it. So good. We also have minorities. So again, it's just that in a step family, it's natural to have maybe one culture more represented, and coalitions sometimes form, not intentionally, but just, like attracts like, right? So sometimes the majority culture can rise above the others. And then you guys also have that complexity of sometimes certain situations, maybe a death of an ex or something. All the kids are in one home being raised by 2 parents that maybe are or not their bio parents. Then you have the more typical step family situation. They're being raised in multiple homes, and yeah, sometimes it's residing in the home and on multiple days. I mean, all these things that you guys know because you live it. And so with that step factor, on top of the multicultural, that's why there can be that complexity that adds to the more conflict prone. But in all of these different configurations, different people on different days, the fact that faces our families that can be really challenging is that in all of this instability, kids need stability and predictability. And so that is the challenge, I think, for so many of us, because I think as parents want to offer our kids safety. Safety, I think, is one of the most natural human traits that we all want and we all seek. And that is our endeavor as parents, whether we're step parents or not, is to offer that to our kids in the best way possible.
Yes, ma'am. Well said.
Thank you.
Like we said last week, the way that you look at your stepkids is a huge determinant factor to the overall success and well-being of your step family. So therefore, we like to embrace this concept of a beautiful complexity, because yes, it is complex, absolutely, but it's also beautiful because we now have a chance, an awesome opportunity to impact our grandchildren's life and their grandchildren's life. Kids, they've had their share, absolutely, and we all know that we are not designed for one parent family. We cannot be a mom and a dad at the same time. Another thing that we would like to share is that in research we came across this idea that kids, when they grow up in thriving multicultural step families, when they become adults, they are more adaptable to change and better problem solvers. And in this day and age, in this economy, those are very highly valued qualities. Did I say it right?
I don't think you could have said it much better. Like, guys, this is like what your future children are gonna want to write on their resumes. I mean, this is, yeah, I think Caitlin was thinking that too. I mean, really, like this, I feel like you even see this, like you see this. And so seriously, when you guys get a chance, I'm gonna send over this PowerPoint. I want you guys to even just like print off this slide or write this somewhere you guys need to see this. That you remember these two important facts. Not only do we get to, yes, of course, impact our children in a multitude of ways, even just realizing like in this situation, when it is tough, when it is challenging, just knowing that as you guys seek to strive to bring your family towards that thriving place, applying these steps, you're changing your kids' lives better for the future. They're going to be able to adapt to change. They're going to become better problem solvers. I mean, I think Caitlin's a living example. If I can just shout her out right now, she had, I know, a very challenging childhood, but I think two of those things really embody who she is. So she's living proof. I know we all love Caitlin, and it's just awesome to see that living out in her family. Okay, Luis may love her a little bit more.
Yeah, because even though we might feel like a little bit guilty, like, oh no, we cannot give them the stability, and poor them, always going back and forth and all that stuff, but there is something beautiful, something good that can come out of all of this. It's not for nothing that we're going through all this.
And these are, we want you guys, that slide that came before, I want you guys to maybe, I just want to call it out, because this next slide we're going to show you guys is going to paint, I think, the reality that a lot of us know that come against our families and that come against us. So I want you guys to remember these things when these next things happen. So remember that your kids become more adaptable, respectful, all those things, because we do face two very hard facts when we're in these families, right, guys, is that we know people look down on step families, check, we've got that there, and people look down on mixed culture, mixed race families. So we've got kind of two checks against us. So I think acknowledging and remembering, though, that no matter what somebody else says, no matter if they're family, well-meaning family member, or no matter if they're a boss or someone, a neighbor, whoever it is you interact with daily that may look down on you, remember that your kids and your family has the opportunity, with your right mindset leading them forward, to adapt and develop all those qualities.
Absolutely, baby. That's it.
This is a great opportunity, a great photo.
But of course, there are some challenging factors within the family, and we have to say that intercultural step families are harder on the kids because they had no voice in this choice. And especially when you're dealing with teenagers, because they know that step families are frowned upon, and they know that intercultural step families are not the norm. They're weird. They're not normal. And so they know this as they are being brought into this family, whether they want to or not. So it could be that they feel a sort of betrayal.
I think it's just something that, guys, we know that, as we just talked about, these two type of families are coming out of our comfort zone. So with kids, especially teens, we all know, we've all been teenagers, we like to be in comfort. Yeah, anything new or different that's not cool is very uncomfortable, especially when the choice is being taken away from you. So that's where, research backs this up, and I think we've experienced this a little bit ourselves. A little quick background on this story is we were at Disney World, and it's pretty awesome. This is the wishing well for Snow White, and the C at the top stands for charming, but also for claimant. And this was a season when I wasn't allowed to put Billy's face on the internet. That's why it says ugh over her face, but she really was giving that face, of us kissing. And it's funny because now we're back to a season where we are not allowed to put Billy on the internet anymore. But just to say that it is these things, it's these feelings that the kids have that are just totally normal and totally validated. And we wanted to make sure that we shared this with you guys, because it's actually, again, as we shared last week, it is healthy when they express these things, because at least you know where they're coming from, and you know how they really feel. Now, besides just the children in your home, there are also other sources of conflict, and some of you guys may feel this very strongly, but of course, we have our extended family members. So,
Sure.
oh no, it's okay. So again, some of these quotes up here: stop labeling people just because they're not like you. When someone judges you, it isn't actually about you. It's about them and their own insecurities, limitations, and needs.
Chihuahua effect.
The Chihuahua effect's coming back. It's coming back. But we just want to remind you guys that so often, even well-meaning family members, when they have a judgment against maybe the fact that you guys are in a step family, you guys are dating a divorced dad or a divorced mom, or, you guys are, oh gosh, you're dating this, this guy, or you're married to this person from a different culture. It's really their issues that they have to deal with, but it is also challenging because they are your family, and it's just good to be aware that you have that, that could be a source of conflict for you. The community in general that you live around, there's definitely social, stereotypes in every culture, every country that may face. And then, of course, there's children's peers, which, are also extremely important to them around certain points of their life. Again, I think we all know how important teenagers' friends are them. And it can actually, research backs up that their friends can actually affect how children adapt to new family situations, and acceptance to new step parents and step siblings. And so this is easy, I think, to think of negatively, but this can actually be positively. And I have a quick example of that.
Please.
So I think overall, when I first came to be Kim's wife and was Billy's step parent, I think overall her feeling wasn't very good. I think a lot of that came from her mom as well. Her mom overall does not have a positive outlook at all about Americans, and may have something to do with our previous president, as happens a lot with a lot of Europeans. But basically, there was a moment I remember Billy had several sleepovers, and I would always bring American candy to the sleepovers so that her friends could have something, from America. And her one friend, I remember, thought it was so cool that I was American and thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. She even told her, wow, I like your stepmom better than I like your mom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please. Like, what did I do? But just to say that I actually noticed in certain moments when I can think of two of Billy's friends, like really, they tried to speak English with me. They really showed how cool I thought I was. It really softened Billy's approach towards me too. And again, this was more in the beginning, but it just shows that, it can affect kids either way. So that's my little story.
That's pretty beautiful right there.
Yeah.
I said it before, it could be especially hard on teens because they may have negative feelings towards step family in general, but also towards the new culture. Yeah. It shows that if they have colored younger siblings, that is harder on teens. And especially because when they're publicly associated, it means that they have to explain more, but also heightens the embarrassment factor. They will probably show their dislike more, and up to a point, and we found this backed up in science, Justin, that they could not even want to help with the new sibling. It's definitely not just your kids. It seems to be normal, if there's such a thing, or not abnormal, if I may say that.
Yeah.
But anyway, in our family, we found that our double blend, it made us more resilient. It made us stronger together. Because we find ourselves in a unique situation. We don't know anyone who is in this situation, and at the same time, we're proud of that. We try to celebrate each other's uniqueness instead of looking down on them. Maybe we try to celebrate it, try to find the beauty in that, and focus especially on what binds us instead of what separates us. It's that focus game that we keep coming back to. So what are you to do? Basically, one of my favorite lines is go back to school. Absolutely. What do we mean we say that?
Well, and we're emphasizing that that's what you guys are doing now, right?
Absolutely.
Because we're saying, oh, well, this is what works for us, but what does that mean for you guys, And so to back up what you guys are doing to further we're giving you guys a lot of high fives and a lot of pat on the backs tonight because you guys really
Courageous, strong.
Yes, you guys really deserve it because research shows that to address these issues in doubly blended families is that you're basically, there's one big goal and it should be to assess. So basically, right, become aware and ask yourself the right questions. And then once you do that, change the bad behaviors that you become aware of through the doing, which is what Kim emphasized earlier. So it's first and foremost, again, just breaking it down. Okay, assessing, okay, what are the struggles? What are the issues in this double blended, family that I've got? Now, what behaviors do I need to change? And then actually basically just doing them and moving forward. And it's as simple as that, but it's also not as simple as that. We get that, but you guys are making the best step and moving forward. And so as StepFamily coaches, right, we're like, well, how do we help our families do that? And so number one, again, we want to help our families, you guys, basically as the individual members, each of you guys clarify their relationships. So basically that means you guys as the couple, because you lead your family, right? You guys are the leaders of your new family you guys have created together. Clarify, figure out what is our foundation, our marriage, our partnership, what is our relationships to the kids in this family, and then clarify and understand your own interactions and behavior. And you'll see, guys, again, this is all coming back to mindset, right? Becoming back to also knowing thyself. That is the best way moving forward in your family, is not just understanding each other and the kids, but also understanding yourself. And then, of course, beyond understanding, we always need to eventually go beyond and putting it into action and improving the communication with everyone.
Learn about the culture is what we would say. There's a plethora of things that you can do. We've already mentioned the language, but dive into the music, dive into the kitchen, bring the food into your house. Maybe have a special Thursday taco day, by lack of a better example. Watch movies, old movies, modern day movies. I feel oftentimes they do a good job in depicting the feel of the culture. How would is especially if you're looking like non-Hollywood movies, but like from the country, from Ukraine, from Venezuela. I'm sure there's movies being made there every year. So look them out. See if you can bring them into your home.
That was a homework assignment, by the way.
Okay, awesome. Read books, maybe read the stories of all the legends. Who are the big famous men in history that everybody knows about in the culture? Who are they leaders? And when we speak about culture, of course, we cannot forget art. Go to a museum if that is possible. Go look at pictures or look them up on the internet nowadays. You have everything in your
hands,
in your hand, probably looking at this moment. Do you know anyone else from that culture or who's traveled there recently? And bring him into your house. But basically, we would say just immerse yourself. Go in, dive in, head on, throw yourself in there.
And make it fun.
Absolutely. Make it yummy in the meanwhile.
Please,
Absolutely.
those two things at once.
Because in the end, what you will get out of this is just priceless. Your kids, they're going to grow up with a healthy sense of self. They will be more balanced and they will be more confident if their culture is addressed, if they feel like, if they're celebrated, if they can grow up in a healthy home where all of that stuff is that's just the norm, that's just normal. Yeah. But also in your family, it'll bring more peace, it'll bring more love, more acceptance, and in the end, the happy home. Isn't that what we are all about? What life is all about? You have the tools, you are in the position that you need to be, and you can make this work. Absolutely. So how do we do things? We have theme nights where we make food, where we combine our cuisines. We have some American, Belgian mixings going on in there, where we watch movies, where we listen to music, and so on and so on. But please feel free to get creative there yourself. But it's also important that you involve your kids and that you keep it balanced, that every culture is having the same amount of attention, whether it's 2 people or just 1 people or 4 people who are from that culture. It doesn't matter. All cultures are equally valid. And we would want to challenge you to create something that is like really unique to your family, and do that more often. Create that sweet little routine that is uniquely yours, that no one in the world does this. Because when you make it a routine, when you do it on a consistent basis, it creates that structure, it creates that predictability and the safety that your kids need so much. Here you go, boom and boom, and then your kids will say, this is how we do things around here. Make them proud of who you are. Make them proud of what you stand for.
So I think this one's more of maybe a little more my speed. And I know I'm mostly talking to the ladies in this group, but we know that there's language barriers between some of you guys and your stepkids especially. And so I wanted to give you guys some of my top tips. Some of them I actually had to look up myself, like do research in the beginning, and I still use them to this day. So first and foremost, if you guys find yourself having a language barrier, truly from the beginning, find a middle ground. And so what I mean by that is basically find the things that you guys can meet in the middle and find something you guys both enjoy that in the beginning doesn't involve a lot of language, especially if the language is new to you, if you're not very familiar with it. You don't want to put yourself the cart before the horse, my dad used to say. Basically, like, don't put yourself up to fail. Like, set yourself up with something that you guys can do together. In the beginning for Billy and I believe I've mentioned this already, but we did a lot of walking the dog and a lot of baking, because those were kind of 2 things we didn't need to talk much to each other, but we could still spend time together. And then in that same essence and that same idea, create situations where the children can teach their language to you. Kids love, right? Don't we all know kids can come off as know-it-alls every once in a while. If they've learned something new, they want to teach you. They want to share what they're learning. So give them an opportunity, ask them questions. Ask them how to say something or clarify. And believe me, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction, right, guys? I even experienced this weekend with Kim's nieces. They were more than happy for me to practice my Dutch. But you can use tools like Duolingo, what we talked about in the beginning of the lesson, or even Google Translate is a really great way to maybe even for you, Caitlin, that has a little more advanced version of the language or knowledge of the language, you can actually type in word for word what you want to say.
Why not?
Which is good. Because when in doubt, sometimes there are situations where you need language. There's certain situations where or even just to ask clarity. So go for those modern tools. And I have to say so bluntly that in the end, the best thing you can do for your step family, again, to blend, and if you have a language barrier, is just to surrender, to learn the language as best as you can. It doesn't mean you have to be an expert, doesn't mean you have to have a college level, but do your best to learn it, because it's only going to grow your relationship with your stepkids. And I can guarantee it's going to grow your relationship with your partner, because that language probably has been involved in their lives as well. And what's beautiful is when you do start to apply these steps that I mentioned above, it's going to put the kids at ease, and it's going to also teach them to embrace their culture and not feel like they have to be embarrassed or ashamed of their culture because it's different than your own. And then ultimately, it will lay that path of embracing all cultures, including the one that you bring into the household.
And remember, guys, we are the bridge. We brought the women in our lives together, or Matthias, not a boy. And it's our job, our duty to help them blend, help them mend. And so, women, please allow your men to help you out in there. It doesn't mean that you're weak, not at all. It's just, we love to do so.
Let them be smarty pants, yes, too, every once in a while. Show off. Another huge, as we mentioned in the beginning, a norm that comes from a lot of cultures, whether you share that religious belief or not, are religious differences. And so I thought this was a really poignant, funny example of just different perspectives when it comes to cultures. And especially, you know, this is a Muslim woman wearing a head to toe burqa and someone thinking, oh, wow, you must be so uncomfortable. Just showing that religious differences exist in every culture and every family. You'll probably never find a family, even a traditional one, that believes the exact same way, even if it's in the same religion. So we just want to emphasize, first and foremost, if you find yourself having religious differences in your home, to go back to what we talked about a few weeks ago. Go back to those house rules, because you want to honor your beliefs in your own home. It's very important that you take ownership of that, because beliefs are just known and shown. They are what construct your values in yourself and what ultimately dictate and lead you to the values that you set as a couple in your own home. So start there by honoring your beliefs in your own home, creating a sense of house rules that you guys can then communicate to your kids. However, while doing that, there also needs to be that balance of allowing your kids to have their own beliefs while respecting yours. And that's so important, especially in a step family, because you don't want to try to impose your beliefs on your children too strongly, so that it would set up a conflict situation. So it can be a little hard to navigate. Well, how do I do that while also having them respect my religion and my faith? So these are some more following tips that we would like you guys to look at, and how that looks like and what you guys can do. So of course, communicate your expectations in your home to your kids, and explain to them what that looks like to your house. So like, as an example, share the expectations you have with your kids on religious holidays or ceremonies or celebrations, for instance. A couple questions that maybe could get you guys going down that pathway of thought is, and only you guys can answer this, but do my kids have to attend church with us every week? Do you intend your kids to celebrate big religious holidays or fasting like Ramadan or Lent? Do I demand, or basically, are you going to make or encourage your kids to be baptized or celebrate their first communion if you have a Catholic belief? So it's all these things that are good to, first and foremost, always go within, ask yourself, like, well, what do I think about this? What are my expectations? Do they come from my culture? Do they come from me? Is it important in my faith to do this? And then communicate that with your spouse, so that you guys can then communicate those beliefs and expectations to your children.
And basically, what it all comes down to is celebrate the differences. Make it a good thing that we're all different. And oftentimes in my life, I meet people where I'm thinking like it's a good thing that we're all different, because I wouldn't want to be you. But yeah, there are differences. Doesn't mean that it has to be a bad thing. So look for opportunities where we can discover and also celebrate each other's different cultures. But all with the right tone, tact, and timing. I think that's like big 3 T's right there, and I think that they count for any conversation, any hard or difficult conversation, or even easier ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, because whether you face it or not, you are a multicultural step family, and like we said, there's many possible configurations. And I came across this Venn diagram just to drive this point home. And what's in the heart is basically what matters. That's where all the cultures and all the religions and whatever come together. That is what defines you as a family. So learn to embrace that. When we're speaking of culture, we're speaking of your normal things that you feel like, well, that's just how you do things. Remember that you do have a choice there. Do you actually like it? Because you now have an opportunity to create. You have the obligation to create your own culture. So we would say, pick the best things from all cultures that are involved and create your own culture. Design, you get to design.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's culture clashes, right? And sometimes when you're trying to communicate, it is like that telephone game. Like, am I actually hearing what they're saying? And you don't want to focus on the culturally correct way, right? Because that statement right there is going to be different to each and every one of you. So it's hard to really ask, like, whose culture is right or whose culture is better, because then it turns more into a competition, and then it's going to be really hard to get on the same page and lay a strong foundation. So ultimately, I think Kim would definitely love to take this over, because what do they do then in this situation?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Absolutely.
Give me a
we've
V.
come to embrace and come to focus is because there's values and there's norms in all cultures, and some of them are different, but there are some values and norms that transcend cultures. And I'm speaking here of virtues once again. And if you were to look at them more closely, you'll see that they come back in every culture, and they therefore transcend culture. So instead of focusing on what is culturally the right way, look at better at the higher level, what is the right way.
But, baby, hold on. Wait a second. The virtues. Does it apply to your ex's culture?
Why not?
Because sometimes it's like this, right? No, we want to, I don't know if Luis, if your camera was saying yes, yes, it does. But obviously, guys, we feel like this is probably an understood fact, but it is harder to do than just to say. So we wanted to point out some big points here, is that whether you like it or not, your ex's culture is in of itself at least 50%, right, of your children. So you really need to find a way within your own family to celebrate it. There's a few key points though here, because there's multiple configurations within a family. We want to kind of point out some of the differences. So for instance, if your ex is in the picture, right? So if they are actively parenting with you, they're in your child's life, but has a different culture than your own, then allow them to focus on their culture. While in your home, you can still honor it. So an example, I think, with our families would be, for instance, Luis and Caitlin. You guys don't have a German partner between the two of you, but we know, Luis, your ex is married to a German man or an Austrian German man. So you can let them focus more maybe on the German culture. Don't let them make you feel like you have to. You can still honor the fact that Matthias is learning German and things like that. But in your home, that's where you can focus on your Spanish, Venezuelan American heritage. Now, the next the next situation is if your ex is in the picture and has the same culture as you, which is, I know, also Luis, and I believe Yevgeny definitely a part of that as well. You basically get to do as you please. I feel we know there's situations in families where an ex in this situation tries to put a lot of expectation and maybe a lot of demands or orders on you, expecting you to translate that culture entirely. But ultimately, again, it's the same thing with boundaries and expectations. You have to basically translate or share your culture in the way that feels best to you, to your child, not what's best in your ex's eyes. And then the last kind of scenario is basically in Angela and Justin's situation. If your ex isn't in the picture and if the culture is different, it is your opportunity. And as Kim said earlier, it's your obligation for your children to find ways to honor it and celebrate it. So now we have to emphasize that this affects your children, especially if, again, in Angela and Justin's situation, if they are a different race, those children are going to face the fact that they're a different race, whether you like it or not. And so finding a way to celebrate and honor that is only going to help your children as they navigate their life in this world.
Yes, ma'am. But if I may make a little jump back to those virtues, it was a couple of months ago that I was thinking, I was trying to find a way to overcome all these cultural differences and all these expectations that society and extended family members and exes and whatever they all may have about us. I was looking into a way to to transcend them, for lack of a better word, to
yeah.
overcome them, exactly. And it reminded me back then of Plato, we would
In
say
English,
Plato, with his 4 cardinal virtues: prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. But actually, looking into it, it was actually King Solomon who spoke or wrote them
from the Bible.
It's not actually in the Bible, this thing, right? This
No,
wisdom
but
of
King Solomon is, but
King
this
Solomon, the
book,
one from the Bible.
yes,
Yeah, he
okay.
also wrote different books who were actually not adopted in the modern day Bible. And at some point he says, if a man loves righteousness, her labors are virtues. And then we see that temperance, prudence, justice, and fortitude. Now we're speaking, now I have no idea, this is a couple of thousand, or this is 1000 BC. They were already 2 smart men, I can imagine, 2 of the smartest. Yeah. But also in the Bible, they speak of the 7 virtues, as in like opposition to the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Yes, is that correct? A simple, quick Google search showed me that, okay, virtues, what are we talking about? And if we see all these beautiful words written here, I'm sorry, but if you focus on these things in every culture, they will be celebrated. In every culture, they are
just in different ways,
highly looked at. How do you say that when people look at it in a highly way?
High regard.
High regard, exactly. Yeah, what it actually basically comes down to is that we are the adult. When we are really like real adults, like how we should be, I think that these traits is what we think of, what I would think of at least. And please let me know if you feel differently.
Actually, on that note, I realized that in previous lessons, we've done a much better job checking in and talking with you guys and seeing how things landed. So I guess I apologize on behalf of both of us that we haven't really done that tonight. We still have a little bit more material to go through, but how is everyone doing? Are you guys still with us?
I'm gonna grab me some water.
Sure. Everybody's good. Has any of this landed or something that you want to comment on that you've been wanting to make a comment on maybe as we were talking over and over? Anyone? Don't everybody jump in at once. Ooh, Caitlin. Okay.
No, I thought it was really interesting how you were.
I can't hear you, Caitlin.
It's us.
Can you hear me now?
No, she unmuted herself.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear her.
Something's wrong.
Okay, everyone except Kim and Cheyenne.
Sorry, Caitlin, I'm not sure if you can tell. You are unmuted, but we cannot hear you, unfortunately. Oops, sorry. Can everyone else hear her? Can you guys hear her?
Caitlin, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, Yev. Kate, try again.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. And we're back. Okay, so Caitlin, you have the floor.
I was just saying that it was really resonating with me, all the stuff about also like third culture and like being in a culture that's not your own, because I think we are very rare in that situation. Like we can connect to the two of you in the sense that we're living in or at least I can connect to Cheyenne in the sense that I'm living in a country that's not where I grew up, and Luis as well. But then to think that like neither of us are from where we're living is very unique, I think. And when you said third culture, I looked at Luis and was like, yeah, and he had actually never heard this term. And so it's something I've been like thinking about in regards to like our future children, because even though Matthias is growing up in a culture different than his parents, his 2 biological parents share the same word, so that'll be even a different step for our bio kids someday. And I had met a few people. I had like learned that term in college because of a girl that I met who like had a very interesting upbringing with cultures as well. But it's been something I've wanted to like eventually do a lot more research about, just because, like you said, it can be maybe quite complex for a child, but hopefully in the end will make them like a more well-rounded person. And then what was it? There was, when you were talking about kids teaching, we were giggling because Matthias, like in German, the word for school is Schule, and he claims to have the Matti Schule, and every week he's like, okay guys, time for Matti Schule, and he wants to teach us a lesson about something. So he's owned.
Awesome.
Anyway, we just thought that was cute, how
That's adorable.
kids wanting to also kind of have an influence when they're not often the ones being able to.
Yeah.
Doing a good job, guys. I love all these things that you share with us. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Angela and Evelyn, is there anything you guys would like to add?
I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of absorbing it today and
Yeah.
trying to really think about our own inner culture for our family as being blended, and not really focusing so much on that the twins are half Mexican. I don't know. I know at times I've kind of tried to bring up the idea of the traditions, etc., etc., and it seems like Justin's girls have always kind of been like, well, you don't need to make that a tradition. And I'm like, why not? So I don't know. I guess today I'm just absorbing and pondering, I guess.
Yeah. That's good. It's a lot, especially because you're coming at it from your own perspective, and you've shared some of the challenges you guys face in your house with that. So I can only imagine it's a lot to think about. So that's okay. That's why we're very happy we're going to do another live on Saturday, so we can specifically, give you guys a few days to like think and talk about everything. But it's also something you guys, don't have to have all the answers on. If anything, we know our courses are really probably maybe mostly helping you guys. The feedback you've been giving us is just becoming aware, just realizing, oh yeah, these are things that we need to talk about, or these all are things we do or don't do. So that's good. So I'm glad at least you're open to absorbing and thinking and moving along with us.
If I may, Angela, the teenager stuff, I'm sure that resonated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's very normal, the behavior that you guys are faced with. Maybe that's not what you wanted to hear.
No.
But that also means that you're not the first
it's not what
parent.
I want to hear.
But it also means that you're not the first parent who's being confronted with that kind of behavior.
And you won't be the last.
Yeah. It's really not.
True. Yeah. Just makes me kind of wonder and ponder even more. So, good.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good.
It is a process, so please take your time to process it. And step by step.
Be kind to yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Kindness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Angela and Evgeny and Meryl. Officially on solid ground now.
Yeah, always. We got off our hovercraft. I think it's interesting. I think the culture discussion, right? I think something Meryl and I have talked about is definitely, I guess, hits close to home in the fact that, right, while I guess growing up in America, but having been born somewhere else, and then even while growing up in America, growing up in a I would say a small community of people who are like immigrants. It's, I always say, like, people ask, or when people ask, I always make the joke. It's like, it's entirely possible to grow up foreign in America and like feel as if you're not quite in either for what it's worth. So it's just interesting to think about kind of these ideas and how they would be impacting, our family, and then also, finding that balance of sharing traditions, but in a way that doesn't, I guess finding a way to honor traditions in a way that is compatible with,
Yes, sir.
or not alienating in the culture that you grow up, so I don't know, like Caitlin and thinking about like Matthias, it's just kind of like an interesting idea of like, as you mentioned, like growing up to parents who neither of whom are biologically Austrian or German, and then feeling like not assuming what he's going to feel like, but potentially appreciating the fact that like he might feel culturally Austrian or German, and just, I guess, maybe wishing perhaps that my parents had the foresight or awareness to try to like bridge that, as opposed to kind of being like, yep, you're going to grow up Ukrainian, we're going to like pass on along all those things to you, and then like you'll figure out, you'll plug in those differences as you go. And I think that's hard to navigate the
Yeah.
Thank you. That's well said. Beautifully said. Yeah, and that's 3 continents that Caitlin and Lewis that you got going on there. I think there's big differences in worldview, in like reality constructs that we also
experience. Yes, we do
every once in a while.
But I love Evgeny, just to like bounce in really quickly on what you said, is that I know so much of this course is like an awareness of ourselves, like things we didn't necessarily realize or know about ourselves, or maybe acknowledging things we wish our parents did differently. But also because we're now all adults and we all have children in our lives, it's now that great opportunity that I see that where your girls, it sounds like, were born in a very similar-ish situation to you. Not that they were born in a different country, but I know that your ex-wife also, I believe, is Ukrainian in that same kind of community. So what a great opportunity that you and Meryl get to help your girls have a different experience than you did, and that you can bridge that gap that maybe you wish you would have had with your parents, that your girls growing up in a different situation, obviously not being able to control or even wanting to control what their mom does, at least with you guys in your household, you can do that for them.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Meryl, before we move on, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, just kind of what he said like resonates with me, and I just like, like feel bad for him in a way that he experienced. Like I don't know what that feels like. And then kind of like when it first started, I was like even questioning like what is like my fault? Like what do I like, like I am like Italian, but I didn't grow up in Italy. I don't speak the language. So it's like, am I bringing, like, if he and I get married and have kids, it's not like I'm like, ciao bella, and we're having spaghetti every night. Like, because of the, like, but like with him and his kids, I feel like I bring like the American culture, like Barbies and Disney. It seems like that was kind of foreign to like him and his daughter. So it's like, he said, it kind of sounds like generic, like American. It's so broad, but I feel like, like maybe that is what I bring. So just, I don't know, kind of pondering like not who am I, but what are like my cultures and where does all that come from? So
yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you guys for sharing.
Right, our last straight line. It is a game of focus, ladies and gentlemen. And what do you want to focus on? Do we want to focus on small and petty things, playing small ball? Or do we want to focus on transcending and being bigger, moving forward, leading with our heart, leading with purpose, embracing the good in life? I think that's what we would like to do.
Wait. Hold on. You guys know me by now. I like to break down and explain things a little bit, especially with this photo. So this photo, I know I sent to Caitlin earlier today because it reminded me of something that she had shared last week on, that was like a killer bug. For sharing with how with step parenting, right? Sometimes the kids feel that little bit of a battle of jealousy and like, how do we fit here? What is our role? Just as step parents, we try to figure out our role. And with this slide, us trying to encourage you guys that it is a game of focus. You really do. It's like, what are you going to focus on, the positives, or focus on the differences and how they help your family, or how they could divide you if you focus on that. And this photo is actually a year and a half ago when Kim and Billy came together to the States for the first time. We were visiting my parents in Florida, and we had just recently found out we were pregnant. I'm about 10 weeks pregnant in this photo. And it was supposed to be a romantic, beautiful photo taken between Kim and I, and Billy out of nowhere ran up in the photo. And it's a very sweet photo, and she's smiling, but originally she wasn't there. And I remember when we first took it, I felt that like little girl trying to find her space in her way. And I'll be honest, guys, I was a new wife. I was newly pregnant. My parents were taking this shot, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's so romantic. We're on the beach, we're kissing, my leg is popping. I've got this beautiful background. And then this little girl just jumps in there and, kind of ruins my romantic photo. And I know maybe Daddy didn't look at it that way. But what I'm trying to say is that I could have been very small and petty and been like, oh my gosh, like, how do I crop her out? Or like, but then I realized, no, like, this is beautiful. This is a little girl trying to find her way. I love her to pieces. She is a part of my story. And she is going to be a part of this baby's life. And Kim and I had many other romantic photos where it was just the two of us, but it just shows that this blended family life is not easy, and it's not easy on the kids either. And I think it's just our opportunity as adults to make sure that we focus on the right things. And again, like this slide shares, that we just lead with heart and purpose and acknowledge how we're feeling in the moment, but ultimately focus on what's important. And what was important to us in this moment is that Billy felt accepted, and that she saw us as a family, which is what we decided to focus on.
Thank you for elaborating on all that.
Okay.
I had forgotten about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Coming towards the end, guys. We're
Yes,
rounding the corner. We're on the last lap.
I think we are rounding the circle, or making the circle round, because we're leading with heart and purpose. And it reminds me of, I think, our very first
marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a very, very well executed toe pop, by the way. I can't let that go.
Oh. Thank you. If anybody needs lessons, just let me know. But thank you. Yeah, it was, I will tell you, it was very natural, because I always wanted, it's like seeing the movie, what was it, with Anne Hathaway, where her foot pops? Princess Diaries. Yeah! There we go. Americanisms, American. But of course, right? I mean, it's a movie that came out at least 15 years ago, maybe even older. But I always said that I wanted to marry a man that made my foot pop and would be totally game with me taking photos like this. So there we go.
Maybe I've seen that movie. Having a daughter here.
Mm-hmm. That's really before her time. But okay, we'll just pretend you didn't say that. I'm just kidding. So anyways, with leading, we're kind of bringing the full circle. Yes, ma'am.
Leadership qualities. Once again, it's not about being the boss. That's not what leadership is all about. On the contrary, when I Google it very quickly, I actually come across, once again, a lot of those virtues.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in a challenging position and you do not know what to do,
Google it. No.
Pick a word. Pick one. Start somewhere. It's not something that you'll master overnight.
Right.
I think it's a lifetime if we can ever master all of these traits. Pick one. Start somewhere. Gratitude.
Yeah. This could be a great page as well, again, guys, to print off, and just keep somewhere that you look at it, that you see it, that you acknowledge it throughout your day or throughout your week. And ultimately, I think we're realizing, because you guys are our beta course, our beta class, I think we're realizing, because we've come back to these virtues many times, I think we're going to do something, I'm sure, more impactful with it later, even if we create a document for people to printout or something pretty and fun. So just remember that you guys are going to get all that stuff, anything we come out with in the future. And as we grow and as we develop, we're going to continue to pour into you guys and give you guys more materials and tools. Especially, you know, Luis is a great tool. I've heard, you know, someone say earlier tonight, but we're going to have that moving forward for you guys.
And as I'm speaking all this out, I think that in this way, our home, our house, our family can actually be a good practice ground.
Yes.
Which would set us up for success in all areas of life. In your career, in your job, all of these traits will get you further than you've ever been before. I'm sure of that. So anyways,
Okay, go.
Yeah, go do it.
Sorry.
Leader. We all know that it's not what you say that matters. It is who you are. I think Emerson said it right. What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. It is who are you? When we tell our kids, for instance, to respect other people, but we ourselves do not respect other people, then the kids obviously also will not respect other people. So that's what I mean with it's not about what you say, it is about what you do, who you are. So I ask you, who do you want to be? Or better yet, who do you want your kids to be? And I therefore challenge you today to start living that out, being that person. And just know that you are not alone in all of this. It's not about just you doing everything. Remember that you guys are together in this. You are a team. Do they see that word on there? Or does that drop off? I don't know. Anyways,
No, I can see it.
You think?
You guys can see team, right? Yeah, it's there. This is just,
Okay. That's why we focus on the marriage. We focus on parenting. We focus on step parenting. And now we focus on the culture. Wanting to let you know that this is not the end. This is only where it starts.
And so, to cap off the end of the night in our course material, we want to emphasize that, guys, that this is basically where it all comes together. So you guys now have the tools to create and build the type of multicultural step family you want. And so our goal was to create this course where you guys would look at it as a roadmap, you know, seeing it as a way of basically like building your own GPS, so to say. So we want to encourage you guys and let you know that now the power is in your hands. We hope you guys have seen by becoming more aware, getting to know yourselves and getting to discover some of these tools and strategies that now you guys have a clear path moving forward to actually create the family you want and not just feel like you have to live in the one and live with the hands you were dealt, but actually build it together. So continually, I think one of the biggest takeaways that we want you guys to have is to focus on what you can control, not what you can't, including who you can control. And so just a reminder, spouses and partners, that's not each other. You can't control each other. You can only control yourself. So make sure you focus on that. And that will really, I believe, bring such a peace of mind and peace in your family. And that's the beautiful part. You get to really map out the path that you want your family to take. So if you guys work well with visuals like I do, imagine this course as being a map. And now you guys get to be the GPS. You guys get to put in the coordinates of where you guys want to go and take yourself down that path together. And this, of course, is going to bust out another song out of me. We are family.
Oh my gosh.
All my brothers and sisters and me from all around the world. Okay, sorry. I could keep going and write my own verses, but I'm going to save you guys that. Maybe that'll be on the extended version, extended version. But yeah, guys, we're all in this together. You know, this is us. This is a team. We created this as not just a course, but a lifetime membership for a reason, guys, because we want you guys to keep coming back for more. So that basically means that with the lessons, these are now yours. You guys have invested not just your finances, but also your time with us. And these are all recorded. So you guys can come back to this material as often as you guys would like. And what's great news, I think, for you guys is that we have the intention, we are working our way through the rest of the summer. Our goal is to take another group through this and then take all of the notes from you guys and from that team and then create a very beautiful, well-polished, recorded product. And you guys will have access to all of that as well. So the lessons we feel are just going to get better and better because we're just going to keep growing and taking all the feedback that you guys give us and apply it into the course. And then ultimately, not only can you guys come back to the lessons and grow the two of you on your own pace, but you guys get to continue to grow along in the journey with us. And that is going to be in the Facebook group continually. It's going to be open to you guys 24/7. You can always go in there and, you know, whether it's you want to shout out a win that you're experiencing or if it's like a SOS, send help, like, please guys, we need help. We need advice. We need just someone to tell us we're not alone in this. That's what that Facebook group is for. And of course, we're still going to have our weekly Saturday lives to keep connecting with you guys ultimately in the future as our group grows, because everybody who joins our team and purchases our lifetime membership, they're going to be invited to the calls as well. So that's also exciting, is that we're going to have more couples from all over the world that have all kinds of configurations of multicultural step families. So we look at this as a continued opportunity for you guys to grow. I mean, you guys never know, maybe we'll have a couple or a family that's right around the corner in your neck of the woods that you guys could connect with. And so in the future, we'll have opportunities where you guys can submit questions ahead of time. So say you can't be there on the live, or you're there on the live, but you want to make sure we get to you and your question, we're going to have that. And of course, you know, we also have those WhatsApp groups that started. The Rad Dads is officially up and active and going.
Running. So please feel free to drop a message. Yeah.
Drop a message, drop a Giphy, drop a photo, whatever. But just as a reminder, truly, that it's been an incredible blessing, and we want you guys to know that we're there for you guys for the long run. And we're just honored. I think we'll continue this, I'm sure, more on Saturday, but just with this being the last lesson, the culmination of culture, we actually consider we've created a little bit of a culture here in these last 4 weeks, you know, where all these cultures coming together, and there's this beautiful culture of community. I love how when we get on camera, everybody acknowledges each other by name. Everybody knows each other's family a little bit more. We're like calling each other's kids out by name, and that's beautiful. And we hope that you guys have felt that connection and community as well. Oh my gosh, and we ended for like 2 hours. That's really great. That's a first.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you guys want to unmute yourselves, we just stopped. Oh, did you stop the recording?
I know, I stopped sharing.
Okay. So we now just see your beautiful faces on the screen. Yeah, guys, you have officially completed the Thriving Multicultural, you know, what did I say? Wait, StepFamily course. There we go. So a big round of applause to you guys.
Absolutely. You're the heroes.
Thank you very much. It's a huge commitment, you know. I mean, it's really, I know that some of you guys are still catching up and going through the material, but that's okay. We think one thing we've definitely realized from taking you guys through this is we realize that we think ultimately this is going to be something that you guys will do for hopefully weeks and months and years to come, but that also we think a lot of average families, average couples would probably take at least twice this long to go through this material, because it's a lot. And we didn't give you guys any breaks or pauses, any off weeks or anything. It was just like boom, all in. And so yeah, you guys should really feel good about that, because we asked a lot from you, but you guys showed up. We're very proud.
And now it's your time to show up. No,
shut up.
Shut up. I would like to give the mic to
who? Are you gonna call someone out?
Nope.
Oh, so no pressure, guys.
It went by so fast.
Crazy, right?
So fast.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it feels like, wow, okay, we're like, we've had 7 Zoom calls,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost
Yeah.
by the end of this week.
Like
But then
14 hours.
when I think about doing the love languages, and when I think about the very first time, like seeing your guys, like all of your guys' faces on the camera, like it kind of feels like, wow, so much has happened. But maybe it's really just because there's been so much processing happening, you know? And I think a lot of just like what we've said before, that it's just been so, like at times emotional and overwhelming, but also very like empowering and encouraging, just to like realize that, wow, there are people that have different commonalities with our situation, or like for us to see, oh, we're not the only ones that have felt certain ways, or just to, like, as simple as it sounds, just to be like, okay, we're not just like, that's how it is. It's like we have the power to like make even small changes, which end up being big changes,
Amen.
you know? And I think, like the first 2 or 3 lessons, especially, I mean, this tonight also had a lot of content, but I feel like those ones being like such huge foundations, like with marriage and parenting, I feel like there's so much, like I told him, I'm like, okay, we have to be very intentional to like keep like a pace that we like go through all of that, because there was so much in some of those presentations, like, oh yeah, we need to discuss that, but just like one
Mm.
point could be like an hour-long conversation, you know? So like
Exactly.
trying to break it down and pace ourselves so that we don't just like, yeah, we want this to be like, you know, something that we just keep building on.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything, other takeaways for you?
Takeaways from me, I mean, like, there are
Or
a lot.
yeah.
There are a lot of things also for me to process, but I think on and all, it was for me very encouraging. The whole course,
Mm.
really, really encouraging. So like, yeah, I mean, also, like today, so just to focus on the right perspective, like a lot of good things can come out of multicultural,
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes,
very,
sir.
very positive things. Also
Yeah.
in the development of Matthias's personality. Uh,
Hmm.
so I don't that like before I even knew you or something like that, that I would always be in this pity place or spot thinking, oh God, what's gonna happen with my son and how is it gonna grow up? And no, I've learned that Matthias is gonna be a very valuable, strong person, emotional.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I
That's
mean,
good.
also coming to know you, like I can see Matthias is gonna turn around also good.
Ah, that's
Yes,
right.
sir.
So yeah, I mean, it was very encouraging, this whole course. It's sad that it went so fast.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I guess I can just say thank you.
Yeah,
Really,
thank you
thank
guys.
you.
It's so obvious how
Yeah,
much time and energy
Thank you,
behind
guys.
the scenes, like with the Facebook group and the WhatsApp groups, and just like your research and how much time to make a 2-hour presentation. Like,
yeah,
it's obviously a big job, and we are really thankful to have just kind of come across you guys, and now you're like lifelong besties.
I know. I'm over here with the waterworks.
I knew it.
Ah,
yeah.
I knew it. Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Nothing without you, though. Yeah, this is a passion.
So
Passion
follow
project.
that act there, Marilyn. Yep.
Thank you so much for your beautiful words. both of
Really,
you.
they hit very strongly, and it means everything, because this really is a purpose. Sorry, I should say a project and a career choice and path we've made together, but ultimately there is such purpose in it, because we are actually coming from a place of our own reality, and we see how needed it is, and we are so passionate about families staying together but thriving together, because we do see the perks and the beauty and yeah, the beautiful things that can come from these families. So we're so happy to hear that.
to have had you guys with us.
Yeah, yeah.
Amen.
Mm.
That's a tough act to follow. No, I think it's been obviously, as you guys mentioned, there's a lot of content, a lot of stuff to absorb. So it is nice to be able to go back and watch things and listen to things again, and to be able to kind of hear them multiple times to kind of have things hit you differently in different ways at different times.
Sure.
But then also just being able to, I think, real time have that feedback from other couples and families that are experiencing, similar, the same issues, and kind of just validating, if nothing else, those challenges. I think it's hugely been empowering and helpful as part of this course.
And definitely,
Well, been there.
a big thank you from the both of us, but kind of echoing what Caitlin had said, like just you can just tell how much time and effort and love it took both of you to put into making this course, like doing your own research and kind of trying to tailor to all types of, Kim is a teacher, like all types of learners. So there's visuals and there's statistics. So just trying to like get us all to absorb the information in all those ways. And the Facebook group, and we get the emails, and even, yes, like again, I'm in the moms group, but like Cheyenne taking her time and, pouring her heart and soul into the WhatsApp group and giving us like messages, like you cannot ask for more than that. So just for me, the biggest thing apart from these like lessons, and I agree, we're still kind of like, we're behind on one of them, but like taking it in and thinking about it is just that overwhelming feeling like you're not alone. Like that has been like, I would say like above and beyond the biggest step in like my healing or becoming more comfortable as a stepmom. It's like, I am not alone, like in feeling alienated or alone. Like, I'm not alone in feeling that way. And how you guys have overcome it and made it really beautiful and took it upon yourselves to help others who are struggling. That's really beautiful.
Thank you. I think you have a big weekend coming up once again, Meryl. I think you have a big weekend coming up again with the girls.
Yes.
Or am I mistaken?
No, you're right. I was like, I think that's yes. So we get home Thursday night, and then we have Yev's daughters for our Memorial Day weekend. So the bonus Monday.
Okay, and how are you feeling about it?
You got this.
Yeah, a little apprehensive. I have a board exam at the end of the month, so like this is kind of like my away, kind of running from my books, if you will. And then like my vacation ends next week, so I definitely need to use the next few days to study. So a little apprehension, almost as if like my schedule as a single woman would have planned kind of ends the moment that we get home. So just kind of like, that is what it is, right? Your schedule isn't always yours, and trying to manage studying. So there's a little like, I don't know, mixed feelings, but yeah, trying to make the best of it. I know Yev hasn't seen his daughters now in about a week, so I know he misses them. So yeah, just going in there, hopefully he'll take your can-do attitude. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it sounds like you guys have 14 hours, I think, left on a road trip to discuss maybe a good plan or schedule for the weekend. I know that's helped us a lot. That's a little, I guess, extra tip or advice is, I think in families in general, but especially blended families, we've realized there's so much that you can't communicate enough about. And if we can go into it with the best planning, because there are expectations that kind of come and overlap, being a different expectation from a father to a stepmother, but also the fact that we're from two different cultures. There's just things we do differently. And so, I think the best for us especially when Billy's gone back and forth, is we've just learned, okay, we have to like spell it out. Like, what are your expectations for when she's here? What are mine? You could say there's been times where I also run my own health and fitness business. So there's been times where I've been like, baby, I'm sorry. Like, I know we want to do some family time, but I will need you guys to do something because I need this time for myself. I need this time to carve out. So, it's kind of from that first lesson too, like learning that selfishness is not bad. It's like we do need to sometimes be selfish so we can be that best partner in our relationship and that best stepmom that I know that you want to be. So
Very important.
yeah.
Very important. I
Yeah.
also know that there's two big powerhouses here in front of us, and I know that you guys, you got it all. You have it all in you to make it big time.
Yeah, something we knew from the very beginning when we talked with you guys, Yev and Meryl, and really honestly, like all of our couples, but you know, with you guys, we're like, oh my gosh, their love is so like it's almost tangible. Like you can
1,000 miles away.
feel it, the love between you guys, and it's just awesome to see it. I think week after week, and to witness it. So, you know, maybe sometimes it's like you can feel something and see something, but it's amazing when someone I think else says something to you. Just know that like we see it and we feel it, and it's really awesome to see how you guys are just growing together during this journey.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I do have to quickly say I'm a little jealous right now seeing your background. It's so Georgia to me with that tree in the background. Like it's so south.
That's all the way down south.
Oh my gosh, it's so warm. Caitlin, it's warm there because I know they've been struggling with some
90
cold
degrees.
weather.
Caitlin, it's unbearably. No, I'm just kidding. It's not unbearable. It's
I think he said 90.
Plus humidity.
90, yeah. What's the weather like where everyone is at?
Well,
50s.
tomorrow, like 10
Well,
degrees
yesterday it
Celsius.
was raining. Today it was like 68 and sunny. Tonight it was
Wow.
raining. Tomorrow it's raining. So it's just like
Wow.
in where
Well,
we
if it makes you guys
are.
feel better, we've been here and it's been 80s, 90s all week, and we're going to be back in Chicago. Then it's going to be high of 60 and rainy.
So
Whoa.
all you can.
Yes, sir. Enjoy it. Yeah. Go do some skinny dipping. Is that an option in Georgia?
That is an option.
Hey.
Option everywhere.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely an option.
Definitely an option.
You guys got a little sun
Enjoy.
kiss. Good.
Yes, do it while you can. Oh, that's good. Well, it looks like, guys, we're coming to the end tonight. We will absolutely reconnect with you guys on Saturday. There will be a little minor little homework assignment coming out the rest of the week, but it'll be fun. It's going to be something thinking about like heading towards the future, where you guys are headed kind of thing. And so it'll be fun. It'll be something we can discuss more on Saturday. But yeah, come ready just to hang out on Saturday. We'll talk a little more about culture in our families and all of that. But till then, we hope you guys have a beautiful night, an amazing day. Soak up that sun for all of us, get that suntan, and have a very safe road trip home.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah, seeing you guys all again very soon, and feel free to fill up those Facebook or those WhatsApp groups anytime. No worries, do it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, guys.
welcome. Mwah.
Thanks, Travis.
Bye,
Buenas noches.
guys. That's right.